In 2000-2001, I ran an international school in the Dominican Republic. And Heuri, the Dominican on the right of this picture, lived with my family during that time. And my good friend Michael, his family moved down there with us to see what good we could do in that country. So we were back just a little while ago, and my wife and I wanted to buy Heuri a house, a better house for him and his wife. And of course, there's boundaries all over when you look at properties. You know, there's a stake, there's a fence, whatever. Well, Art Faram, who we've talked about, the Faram Foundation, who has got Knights Templar blood in him, has studied different, monuments and the lines that they create, geoglyphs, all around the world. And so we just looked at Giza there, and I showed you this stone on the north side of the Great Pyramid that's a pointer. Mad Sibson got into the pointers on the Sphinx and did a recent YouTube video that's very good about looking at like these lines that end in the temple of Khufu. So there are protocols, Art Faram says, as to when you start using these lines that are made by glyphs, like two of the lines on the pointers point to the sunrise at the vernal equinox there. So Nazca lines, these lines that I found down in Argentina, in Patagonia, these have been anciently placed. So let's listen to Art talk about the protocols that you can use here.
I didn't tell you the protocols for stopping the lines. You can stop them at the end of they're important geographical points on the earth that you stop these things. Stop them at the end of a peninsula. Stop them at the end of an island. Stop them at a geoglyph. Stop them at a major mountain in a range. You got 10 mountains. The highest one might be the one, and several other ones that if you get on our website, it'll explain.
So Mad Sibson, when he looked at the Sphinx and saw these pointers, he began to sort of develop these protocols from scratch by instinct, not knowing the protocols already existed. This is a science that we need to learn.
I next drew a line from the large southern masonry box through the position where the missing masonry box should be, and the line ended up at the northeastern corner of the Great Pyramid. So, what next? Well, it gets even more interesting. Draw a line through the 3 boxes on the northern side, and it lines up with the northeastern corner of the Khafre Pyramid. Then, draw a line through the 2 southern boxes, and you reach the southeastern corner of the same pyramid. This surely can't be a coincidence.
So it's not by chance. Anciently, the ancients put in geoglyphs that pointed to boundaries. I showed one here that led to Patagonia and some Nazca lines. Inspiration Peak leads to some incredible geoglyph lines that show that the territory of North America and Central America, it appears to be, were meant to be one. They were setting their claim for that land. And of course, Cortez invaded Mexico, and Montezuma could have, killed him. He didn't. And so, we have 2 different countries. Spain moved into, Central America, and English in the north. But initially it was meant to be one. That's what these borders show. So when Mad Sibson showed the lines on the Sphinx, he showed the pointers that went to Khufu and Khafre, but I got to thinking, I'm sure that there's lines that will go to Menkaure. He just hasn't seen them yet. And so I was given the job of, doing a project with the grandkids. So I thought, okay, I'll make a model of Giza and did it to scale. So I got a scale map of Giza. I plotted it onto a notebook. And then from the notebook, I taped a bunch of pieces of paper together, and I made a ruler because I didn't have a ruler in the house. So I've got a 2-inch ruler in my wallet, so I made a bigger ruler from a board that we found. And so from the scale model, I was able to then plot out relatively, exactly by scale, and given the tolerances of all that I just told you, to make... because, Mad Sibson had said on Ancient Architects, he couldn't find a good picture of the Giza Plateau. He says, Google Earth and Google Maps don't seem to do too good, so he just used a high-resolution satellite photo. Well, in the meantime, I told him I'd write Mark Lehner, because when I was in Lehner's house last time, he said that they were maybe going to put out another, map from the Giza mapping project. It would be nice to have an accurate map of this part of the world in Giza. So anyways, I put together this model, and then after I put the lines in of where the pyramids were and where the Sphinx was, then I let the kids color it. I said, this is sand, this is the village, and whatnot. But I was able to ascertain that there probably is the Sphinx pointing to not just Khufu and Khafre, but also Menkaure. So saying that there is a singular purpose and meaning for the Giza Plateau, and we're coming up with this because of pointers. These pointers that are around the world. Okay, so we're just touching the surface on this, but I want you to know this is something that I'm working on because I think that there are great revelations that are meant for us, and if we don't study these pointers, how can we expect to find what the ancients wanted us to? Stay tuned.